During this week's meetings, we had an opportunity to meet with both our head and women's basketball coaches. I would say the focus there is obviously being able to focus on initiatives that will elevate both men's and women's basketball. On the men's basketball side, we spent time talking about the importance of scheduling, obviously with the tournament expansion, and making sure that from a strategy standpoint, we're continuing to put ourselves in a position to be successful, not only in the non-conference and the conference, but specifically how that sets us up for our postseason positioning. Very similar on the women's basketball side. I will say we spent more time speaking about some of the what I'll call elevated floors. What are some of those minimums that we can implement across the board from a conference perspective that will allow all of our women's basketball programs to benefit in a way, and we're able to see that success. So there was definitely an intentional focus on scheduling as well as continued investment in men's and women's basketball, but moreover, as we recently approved our strategic plan, being able to begin focusing on phase 2 with some of those specific tactics and just common conference commitment that all of our member institutions will be buying into. So we just wrapped up phase 1 from our strategic positioning efforts, and that's essentially really setting the catalyst, our purpose, our vision, really who we are. What are those common conference commitments that we're all going to buy into that's going to elevate the entire conference? One of the things that we were very bold about is the prominence and the relevance of the sport of basketball in our conference, but how that success will overall impact all of our sports and being able to elevate them. So during our CEO's meeting, we were really focused on, as I indicated, starting phase 2 of our strategic plan. With that, we did have an opportunity to really dive into some of the areas of growth as it relates to not only basketball, but some of our Olympic sports. We've obviously seen immense success in several sports here recently, and so they were able to really be provided an update of where we are from a sport administration perspective. Also, we had an opportunity to really start looking at some of our conference bylaws, making sure that we're in a really good position as it relates to positioning the conference for future sustainability and making sure we're in a position to be successful. We did have some action items as it relates to some of our NCAA funding, making sure that our institutions are continuing to position themselves well from an academic perspective. And so I really feel that some of the discussions we had there were not only focused on what I'll call the success on the playing surfaces, but also some of our efforts that we've been seeing in the classroom. Our directors of athletics and CEOs, they had an opportunity to convene and meet, and there were probably 3 areas we really focused on. First and foremost was diversification of some of our revenue opportunities. We spent time with our corporate partners, specifically Van Wagner, making sure that as a conference, we're continuing to put ourselves in a position to grow our revenue overall. As I spoke about previously, the importance of making sure that we continue to focus on our strategic initiatives, placing us in a position where we want to be from a national perspective. And then last but not least, some of the investments that we've made, specifically as it relates to elevating some of our DV Sport replay systems across our campuses. Obviously, we recently renegotiated our ESPN agreement. We're also investing back into some of our equipment on campus, and so being able to work through some of those things, updating our membership of some of those items that will be forthcoming on their campus based on the investment that we have from a conference visibility and making sure we have that opportunity.
As always, the spring meeting is extremely important and extremely positive. Some of the important outcomes where we looked at revenue distribution, was looking at our commitment around the all of the changes that take place with NCAA Division I athletics, from House settlement and how all of that's going to impact our conference and how it is impacting our conference and our institutions. At the same time, how do we distribute revenue that comes to the conference and to the various institutions? That was an exceptional outcome. Other outcomes included us looking at the conference. How do we continue to think strategically about where we're going, the type of conference we are, how we're supporting the student-athlete experience. And so those are very, very positive trajectories that we were able to discuss. Actually, I think the current position of the conference and its momentum is pretty tremendous. When we look at our financials, we're a very, very strong conference financially. And I contribute a lot of that to the conference team, the conference staff, Commissioner Montgomery, and her team and her leadership, and how she's a great stewardship of our resources at the same time of those investments. One of the big things that we want to continue to think about is where we do our basketball tournament, etc. And so we have a lot of momentum. Our social media has increased tremendously over this period of time. Our presence in ESPN has increased tremendously, and our institutions have become extremely competitive. We've had several firsts in NCAA competition, so we're excited about that and where we are as a conference.
We are grateful to all of our sponsors. We had an opportunity to engage with several of them that joined us today. We had individuals, Andy Sheen from First Citizen, we had Marvin that joined us from Phil Turf, as well as Mr. Kurt Ludwig from McMillan and Pisson, as well as we had representation from Airmark. And so we always enjoy having an opportunity to engage with our corporate sponsors, as well as them having an opportunity to engage with our member institutions as well.